Good morning. Let us start today's session on lubricating oils and bearing materials. Learning objectives. After this session, you will be able to describe lubricating oils, additives, and their selection for bearing purpose or bearing applications. Then you will be able to explain bearing materials, including sintered bearing. I will cover in today's session about lubricating oils, additives, and their selection, and bearing materials used for sliding or hydrodynamic journal bearing. Let us see. First one is the lubricants and lubricating oils. So before that, the objective of lubrication already we have discussed in earlier sessions also. What is the main objective of lubrication? To reduce friction or to reduce or prevent wear, to carry out the heat generated due to friction, and protect journal as well as the bearing from corrosion. These are the main objective of lubrication. Again, you will find different types of lubricants available in the market. That is, one by one I will explain here. Liquid form or liquid lubricant, that is mineral or vegetable oils or animal oils. Second one is the solid lubricants are available, that is graphite or molybdenum disulfide. Third one is the semi-solid lubricants such as greases, which are available in the market. And last, fourth one, that is in gas form, atomized two-stroke oils, air gases lubricant. That means lubricants are classified liquid, solid, semi-solid, and gases. But here, these lubricants should have some desirable properties to have a proper performance of that system or bearing system. So these desirable properties are: it should be available in a wide range of viscosities. This is one. Second one, we know that as the temperature is going to change, viscosity is going to change. But the desirable property of lubricating oil, that is, there should be little change in viscosity due to change in temperature. Why this little change? Because as the temperature increases in bearing, you will find the viscosity is also going to change, and because of that, the fluid film is also going to reduce, and there may be possibility of journal and bearing contact. That's why desirable property is little change in viscosity due to change in temperature. Then another important property, that is oil should be stable chemically. That means it should not react, or there should not be chemical reaction with the bearing material or with the journal material. That's why it should be stable to avoid corrosion and other, the consequences of the reaction. Then another desirable property is sufficient specific heat to carry away the frictional heat. Because why we are supplying the lubricant? Because to carry out the heat generated inside it. That's why specific heat, that is also important point. And then last one, it should be easily available at reasonable cost. These are the some of the desirable properties of the lubricating oil. Again, you will find here these liquid lubricants, they are usually preferred because they are cheaper and stable compared with other types of, that means solid, semi-solid, and gaseous lubricants. Again here, semi-solid lubricant is the grease, but this grease is having a higher viscosity than the oils. Therefore, this grease or semi-solid lubricant, which is employed where slow speed or heavy pressure exists, and sometimes some oil is mixed with the grease or semi-solid lubricant. Again here, solid lubricants, that is graphite or molybdenum disulfide, MOS2. They are useful in reducing friction where oil film cannot be maintained because of high pressure and temperature. In such applications, solid lubricants are preferred. This is about the lubricants and desirable properties of lubricants. But we will see one by one. Now let us talk about the mineral oil. Now here in mineral oil means it consists of hydrocarbons, that is from a crude oil, distillation of crude oil. From that you will get this hydrocarbon, and these mineral oils having two classes, a paraffinic series and naphthenic series. We don't want to go in detail about this uh, chemistry, but important one is mineral oil consists of hydrocarbons and obtained from the crude oil. That is important. Second one important thing is mineral oil are chemically inert. That is its main advantage. They are having a wide range of viscosity. As per the desirable property should have a wide range of viscosity. Because of that, we can use for different applications. Then little tendency to oxidize, to prevent oxidation. Little tendency to oxidize. This is another advantage, and it can be reused without any loss or change of their properties by filtration or straining. It can be reused, but proper filtration is required for the mineral oil. That means it's not a waste, or how to dispose that waste is not a problem associated with this. That's why it is having an advantage. Then vegetable oils are castor oil, rapeseed oil, palm oil or olive oils are the example of vegetable oils. Then animal oil means lard oil, tallow oil or oil obtained from the marine species such as whale fish. Then sponge or dolphin jaws. So from that oils are obtained. These oils can be used as a lubricating oil in case of bearings also. Now let us see the advantage of vegetable and animal oil. They are non-volatile unless there is a chemical decomposition. Again, second important advantage is they retain their viscosities at a high temperature. That means they are not going to, their viscosity is not going to decrease. That is important characteristics, that it's advantage. Then these oils are called polar compound. We have seen in boundary lubrication, because of these polar molecules, they are plus minus ions, they are going to stick the boundaries of the metal surfaces and forms a small thin film, and to prevent metal to metal contact. And because of this, it's possible here. It's another advantage of vegetable oil. But this oil, vegetable and animal oil, also having some drawbacks. So what is that drawback? So at low temperature, it solidifies. Because of animal oil having some fats, that's why it solidify and become fatty. Then second disadvantage is oil reacts with oxygen, and because of that, it become acidic. And because of this acidic nature, there may be possibility of corrosion of the journal or a bearing. Another one disadvantage is phase change. Phase change from liquid state to elastic solid state. These are some of the drawbacks of the vegetable side. Then another important point is additives. You might have studied this some of the the topics in the fluid mechanics also. Generally, you will find why additives are added. Now, additive is a substance which is added to improve the properties or performance characteristics of lubricating oil. Because of that, it enhances the properties of the lubricating oil, or sometimes it suppresses undesirable property of that oil. And as per the requirement, if additives are added, it introduces a new performance characteristics to that oil. That's why additives plays important role, and you will find in many oils or in mineral oils, you will find additives are added to enhance some of the properties as per the requirement or as per the application. The mineral oil in which additives is added is called as the base oil. So try to understand why additives are added: to enhance the properties, to suppress the undesirable property, and introduce new performance characteristics. Now here number of additives are available in the market or added in the oil. So out of that we will see some important additives here. Now here you will find first one is the oxidation inhibitor. So what is its main function of these additives? Retard oxidative decomposition during its application, and generally you will find these oxidation inhibitor additives are used in automotive lubricants. Otherwise, what will happen? Automotive lubricants means, take the example of piston and cylinder, where temperature is high. Because of that, there may be possibility of oxidation, and it retard to this and decomposition on the surface of the inside surface of the cylinder or a piston. That's why such a additives are used in automotive lubricants. Then another important additives, that is detergent additive. Detergent additives again keep surface free of deposit. In case of piston, again you will find clearance is very small. And if detergent additives is added, that means easily take away that the free deposits on the surface of the pistons, and that's why keep surface free from the deposits. Then another additive, that is viscosity improver. So you will find here viscosity plays important role in lubricating oils. And viscosity index, VI means viscosity index improver. So you will find polyisobutylene or polymethacrylate ester are the example of this viscosity index improver additives. Higher the viscosity index, lower will be the change in viscosity with the temperature. That means at a high temperature, to maintain the viscosity, these viscosity improver additives are added in lubricating oil. Then next additives, that is 4-point depression. Now here, what do you mean by this 4-point? This main function is at lowest temperature at which the fluid will flow. So we will find in refrigerator and air conditioning equipments, so, which operates at lower temperature. Now here, to supply here, to have this lowest temperature at which the fluid will flow, the 4-point depressions are used in such applications. Then another additive is the anti-foam additives. It prevents lubricant from forming a persistent foaming. But here in case of aeroplanes or aero engines, you will find at a high altitude this problem, the foaming problem occurs. And to prevent it, the anti-foam additives are added in this application, that is in the lubricants of aero engines. Then another important additives is extreme pressure additives known as EP additives. And generally you will find this is in gears or cam followers, where when the gears are in meshing condition and when lubricant is provided, there is, you will find extreme pressure in during the meshing of one gear with the other gear. Instead of gear, we can say the gear tooth. And that's why there may be small, the elastic deformation of the gear tooths. And to avoid here the wear of this gear tooths or failure of that, the extreme pressure additives are added. It supports or helps that pressure because of the meshing between the gears. Then again, important additive, that is multifunctional additives. Only the name is given. Because of these additives, you will find it performs more than one function. Now here you will find the oxidation and inhibitor. Also oxidation, it prevents the oxidation, it's okay, but it also reduces the corrosion of the bearing surface. That means this additive is having a more than one function. So these are some of the additives which are added in mineral oils to improve its lubricating performance characteristics. Then let us see lubricant specification. Again here you will find in the market different oils are available, but they are designated by some of the international bodies. The SAE is Society of Automotive Engineers is one of the body. Another one is the IS International Standard. Then AGMA, American Gear Manufacturing Association. According to them, that means in the market you will find SAE number and viscosity classification as per ISO 3448 or ISVG grade oils are available in the market. And you can find out SAE grade oil equivalence with the ISVG oil also. These are the two nomenclature generally preferred in the markets. Now let us see. Now in this case, you will find SAE grade oils are used for engine and gear oils. ISO grade oils are generally preferred here in industrial applications, and AGMA oil for industrial gearboxes. Try to understand this. SAE grade oils for engine and gear oils, ISO grade oils for industrial oil, and AGMA for industrial gearboxes. Then again in the market you will find the mono grade oils. Mono means single grade, only for particular applications and having particular characteristics. Now you will find SE 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50 year. These are the SE grade oils. Single grade, mono grade means single, generally used in warm condition. But SE 5W, 10W, 15W or 20W means winter. That means at low temperature, we can use this. But nowadays, you will find in the market, instead of having a monograde oils, multigrade oils are available. That means the SE 10, 5W, they are combined together to improve the performance characteristics of the lubricant oil, and that oil can be used in hot climate as well as the cold climate. Now in multigrade oil, you see 10W30. That means up 10W means here up to this range. Now here the viscosity index number up to this range in winter or at low temperature, we can use this oil also. And even though at a high temperature or in hot climate also we can use it. That means one oil is sufficient for a hot as well as the cold climatic conditions. That's why nowadays you will find multigrade oils are available. Then important thing while selecting, I don't want to go by one when to go for AC30, when to go for ISO VG32 or 68. Now here in hydrodynamic general bearing, you will find ISO VG32 to ISO VG60, 64, up to which we can use different classification of oils. But while selecting, general guideline is how to select the oils. Here, high viscosity oils, if highly viscous, they are prepared when speed is low, high pressure, and high temperature, and heavy duty application. Low viscosity oils are preferred when speed is high, pressure is low, temperature is low, and loading condition load is also low. So that time low viscosity oils are preferred. So these are the some of the guidelines that you can use while selecting the oils, whether the high speed, low speed, whether the high pressure, low pressure, whether the temperature in whether high temperature or low temperature, and load condition also another one of the parameter while selecting the lubricating oil. By using this, we can easily select the oils, and I hope you understood these points: lubricants, different oils, their properties, advantages, limitations, additives, why additives are added, the lubricant specification, and its selection. Now let us see another important point, that is about the bearing materials. We have already gone through 2 to 3 sessions about sliding contact bearing, but which type of material generally preferred for bearing? And I am talking about here sliding contact bearing, not a rolling contact bearing. Now here in case of sliding contact bearing, what should be the desirable property for the bearing material? So let us see one by one. You will find here bearing material should not damage the surface of the journal. This is one bearing property. Second one is it should not stick or weld to the journal surface. This is another desirable property. Third one, it should have a high compressive strength. High compressive strength means because in bearings you will find when film is created, because of the first of all pressure gets created or generated inside it, and it gives support to the load. And because of that, there may be deformation of journal or a bearing surface, and that's why this bearing material or journal material should have a high compressive strength to withstand the high pressures which is generated inside the bearing. Then sufficient endurance strength to avoid fatigue failure. Again, failure due to pitting or fatigue failure. So you will find the hydrodynamic or bearings which operates at different load conditions and different speeds. And because of that, so you will find fluctuation in load, and fluctuation in load means endurance strength plays important role. That's why bearing material should have this endurance strength or fatigue strength to avoid this fatigue failure or pitting failure. Another important desirable property, that is conformability. Conformability means what is happening? The bearing material should have the ability to yield or adopt its shape with the bearing or the journal. Now here, in this case, when there is a small misalignment of the journal, or inaccuracy by plastic deformation, even though it can accommodate because of this conformability property. That's why this bearing material should have conformability. Then another important property is embeddability. It means in oil, sometimes you will find dirt particles or foreign dust particles may come inside in between journal and the bearing. Because of that, there may be the possibility of failure of the bearing. To avoid it, embeddability means it must absorb or get embedded in the lining of the bearing material to avoid further trouble. That is the embeddability. Then another important property is sufficient corrosion resistance. Resistance because of lubricating oil, because temperature is going to induce in it. That's why that material should have sufficient corrosion resistance. Then reasonable cost and easily available in the market. These are some of the desirable properties of bearing material. Then next important point is which type of materials are used for bearing. So generally, first one is preferred material is Babbitt. And Babbitt is made of copper, tin, and zinc here. Babbitt is also called the white metal and generally silvery appearance. It looks like a silver. And it's also called as a white metal. Again here, in this Babbitt, I have told you copper, tin, and zinc. The tin is 89%, copper is 2%, and zinc is having a very low percentage. And sometimes antimony is added, that is near about 8 to 9%. And this Babbitt is invented by Isaac Babbitt. That's why name is given Babbitt. Again, from his invention, it's a excellent bearing material. And nowadays also we are using the same Babbitt material, but in another form. There are two types of Babbitt, that is lead-based Babbitt and tin-based Babbitt. And again, you will find here this tin-based Babbitt generally preferred than lead-based because it's having a better corrosion resistance and it can be easily bonded to the steel cell. Generally, bearing is not made of the Babbitt. Only the inner thin, the lining material, which is made of this Babbitt. And this thin lining of the Babbitt, which is bonded in the form of strip to the bearing, which is made up of steel material. And generally, you will find here also written that is 0.5 mm thick lining of the Babbitt, which is bonded to the steel cells. Then Babbitts have excellent conformability and embeddability as per the desirable properties of the bearing material. That's why it is preferred. Again, limitations. High cost and shortage of the tin is the limitation. Again, as the temperature increases, strength is going to decrease. And then it's having a poor putting strength. These are some of the limitations of the Babbitt. Then again, you will find here different grades of these white metals and their typical applications. 9 grades are available in the markets. Now here, white metal. Babbitt is also known as a white metal. The grade of 90 and grade 84 white metals are used in petrol diesel engines and in cross-head steam engines. Then grade 75, which is used in mills and marine. Then grade 69, which is used underwater application and gland packings. Then grade 60, which is used in dynamos, electric motors, and centrifugal pumps. Grade 20 and grade 10s are used in low speed application like concrete mixture rope conveyors. Grade 6 are used in heavy duty application like engine bearings, turbines, crosshead of the steam engines. Nowadays, no one is using steam engine. And grade 5 inline shunting are in railway carriages. So these are the different grades of white metals are used. Then next, another materials other than the Babbitt or white metals are used are bronze, then copper lead alloy, aluminum alloy, and plastic. Again, bronze is the combination of copper and tin is a alloy. Copper and tin. Again, this bronze is cheaper, stronger, withstand at high pressure, and having excellent casting and machining characteristics. Bearing is made as a single solid unit by using a blanch. These are some of the advantages, but limitation is tendency to stick to the surface at high temperature. That is the limitations. Then another material used, that is copper lead bearing. That is copper lead bearing 70% copper and 30% lead, along with another alloying elements also. They are used in the form of thin like lining like a babbitt copper lead bearing, more hardness, more fatigue strength, and they are generally preferred in heavy duty applications at high temperatures. Then another material which is used for sliding contact or hydrodynamic bearing, that is thin aluminum alloy. They are preferred or they are used in engine bearings. And here the main advantage why they are preferred in engine bearing, because having a high fatigue strength at high temperatures. Then some of the non-metallic bearings or non-metallic materials also used for the bearings, and these materials are graphite, that is for high temperature applications, then plastic or Teflon, which are having low coefficient of friction or requires no external lubricant like oil and can be used in food processing machines. Then another one is the rubber, that is bearing material in marine applications. This is about some of the bearing materials which are used for hydrodynamic and sliding contact bearings and their desirable properties. Another form of the bearing which is known as sinter metal bearing. In sinter metal bearing, you will find compressed metal powders. That means 2 or 3 metals, they are combined in powder form by sintering process. Sintering process means they are heated up to certain temperature and bearings are manufactured. Again, you will find these bearings are porous bearing and it can absorb near about 20 to 30% lubricating oil. And because of that, sinter metal bearing is known as self-lubricating bearings also. And during its operating conditions, this porosity helps to absorb this lubricating oil, and it acts as a reservoir of oil for a bearing to run for a long period. So you will find another advantage is of the sintering metal bearings are they are mass produced, economically viable, and dimensional control can be possible. Again, there are 2 types or grades of this sintered metal bearings. One is the copper base and iron base. And generally, you will find in textile machinery, automobiles, and machine tools, such as sintered metal bearings are used. Again, you will find in domestic applications or in household applications also, such as fans, blowers, small electric motors, instruments, where also sintered metal bearings are used. A last material which is used, that is cast iron. Cast iron is a poor bearing material, but it is used for low cost and self-lubricating property. And it's having a relatively low load carrying capacity, but in some application, because of the low cost, sometimes cast iron is also used as a bearing material. This is about the different bearing materials and desirable properties of the bearing materials. Students, we have seen here the lubrication, different types of lubricants, desirable properties of the lubricants, and different types of materials used for hydrodynamic and sliding bearings and their desirable properties. The only one point, that is bearing construction, and another one, some of the problems on Raimondi and Boyd method, which are remaining from this topic. The next session I will cover some of the problems on the design of this sliding or hydrodynamic journal bearing by using Raimondi and Boyd chart. In yesterday's session, earlier session, we have already seen what do you mean by Raymond and Boyd method, why this method is used, different variables. So you can, yesterday I have uploaded the videos of the same. You can go through that. And in next session, I will cover some of the problems of hydrodynamic journal bearing. And then I hope